Welcome back to the IBFP. Here's your host, Foxy New.
Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. Who's the best at 168 pounds? Let's just dig right into it. In a recent interview, Danny Jacobs came out and stated that David Benavidez is the strongest and Caleb Plant is the most beatable out of all the 168-pound champs. And this is the exact statement. And he said, to say who's the best is kind of hard to say, but I would say, all those guys are top. I would probably put Caleb Plant at the bottom of those names. I think Plant is good, but I think he can be beat. He's beatable. I see a lot of flaws in his game. And that's a very interesting statement. Then he goes on to say, but as far as David Benavidez, he's probably the strongest that I've seen amongst those guys. That's very interesting. And, this isn't including Canelo Alvarez because right now he's not a full-fledged champion at 168 pounds. So he's talking about the David Benavidez, the Caleb Plant, the Callum Smith, all of those type of guys. So, when you look at it, he ranks, these two guys towards the top. As far as David Benavidez is the top, and Caleb Plant is at the bottom. So he's going to rank Billy Joe and everybody else in the middle above Caleb Plant. So let's really rank these guys. And when we start looking at it, and we start out with Callum Smith, and when you look at Callum Smith, he's the most accomplished fighter at 168 pounds. This guy, he's the WBA world champion. He's the Ring Magazine super middleweight champion. He won the World Boxing Super Series. So at the end of the day, Callum Smith, 29 years old, 6'3", undefeated, world champion and Ring Magazine champion. At the end of the day, this guy is the most accomplished and most decorated fighter at 168 pounds. But since he arguably got a gift decision against John Ryder, most people felt like John Ryder beat him in his last fight. We don't really crown him as the best at 168. And then you turn around and you look at a guy like Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant is 27 years old, 6'1". Caleb Plant is the IBF super middleweight champion. He doesn't have any huge notable names on his resume. He has Jose Uzcategui, and I think that he is the most underrated fighter at 168 pounds. I think, Caleb Plant, he does have some skills, and you really can't see how truly good he is until you see him in there with a guy that can truly challenge him at that level. And I think that Caleb Plant has a lot of skill sets. I think a lot of guys overlook how just talented Caleb Plant really is. Caleb Plant is a very good boxer. He's very crafty. He has a pretty good IQ. He has speed. And, he has a good combination of what he can do in the ring. So I give credit to Caleb Plant. I think he's the most underrated fighter at 168. And as far as David Benavidez go, I think he's the most dangerous fighter at 168 pounds. David Benavidez, he's a two-time super middleweight WBC world champion. He's only 23 years old and he's 6'2". So, at 23 years old, he's the youngest of the group. And this guy is arguably, at the top, and I don't have a number one as of right now at 168 out of all of these guys, simply because all of these guys need another win. All of these guys need a premier win. But I have, Callum Smith as the most accomplished, Caleb Plant, as the most underrated, and David Benavidez as the most dangerous, because anybody that steps in the ring with David Benavidez is at risk of getting knocked out. But once again, unbiased as always, is the IBFP.